podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
You're listening to Saucepans and Sidesteps.
Hello and welcome to the final Saucepans and the Sidestep podcast of the 24-25 season. Joining me, Big M, as always, the one and only Mr. HG, Huw Griffin. Good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Look, it's end of June and we're still talking Scarlets. What's going on?
Good things, good things. If only we could talk about them playing, that'd be even better. Bit of summer rugby, can't say no to that.
Have the Scarlets ever done like sevens or something?
I mean, can actually have. I don't know. I'm sure we done like a regional one a few years ago, like a good few years now. And that's in my mind somewhere for some reason. But
see, that's the kind of summer activities that I could get behind.
Yeah, Scarlets touring. You know, the Heart of Wales sevens no long started. You've also got Aberystwyth on sevens, nice one.
Yeah,
There's
any
plenty.
excuse.
It's plenty to do. Snelling sevens is always a big one. Obviously, Melrose, whenever that is. But that's the fun talk out the way. I believe you've been hard at work these past few days in setting something up for us.
I have. This is a Saucepans and Sidesteps tradition, although I don't think we've ever done it in our guise as Saucepans and Sidesteps. We've done it in previous names of this show. It's tier list time.
Woo!
So when you say working hard, I have to be honest, it got to last night and I was like, oh no, because I hadn't done it. And then in my head, it was something that was going to take hours, but in the end it took about 10 minutes. But the point is it's done and it's a tier list. So people who go on YouTube a lot will be familiar with these. This is where you have tiers, like rankings of a thing, and you place the things in the ranking depending on where they go. Now, as we get into it, especially for the YouTube watchers, it will become incredibly obvious how it works if you're unfamiliar. But the tradition that we do is that we do end of season rankings for every single player in the squad. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. I only did the players who have a photo on the URC website.
No.
But that is most of the main ones. So if we get to the end and there's someone obvious who we've missed, we'll cover them then.
Again, you're going to try and make me use my brain now to figure out who's been missed. Not okay, mate. Not okay.
Well, we'll make it work. So if we do get players who listen to this, so if anybody's a bit nervous, there are no mean categories. We don't do mean categories. So I shall talk you through the categories now. The categories are this. So the bottom category has signed for Cardiff. That's the bottom category. That's the lowest you can be rated. Second bottom category is... Oh, sorry. Did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I feel unfair for one boy that's gone there.
There's two.
And, I feel unfair for one of the boys. The other one is I'm glad he's going there.
God, if he still listens to this pod, he's a glutton for punishment. Anyway, second lowest rating is We Go Again. So this is for like a player who's been injured or has had a poor season, maybe limited appearances, and we just say, we go again. Next season, clean slate, second chances. Done a job is the middle, which is self-explanatory, is not been good, not been bad. Well, I don't say you've not been good. You've done all right. So, do I need to explain done a job?
No, I think it says enough. Like,
yeah, okay. Second top category is top 23. That started off as being first 15, but in the past we've gotten into all sorts of arguments about having 3 props in the first 15 and things. So I've gone for top 23. Now, there is no rule that says that there has to be 23 players in this category. It's just a name of a category. Okay? Mark's eating grapes. He's too busy to say okay. Right. And then top category is Beautiful Boy. And I think there's going to be a lot of players in Beautiful Boy this season.
Potentially a few, yeah. I am thinking we're probably going to get, like you said, we're probably going to get more than 23 in these top 2 categories.
There we go. That shows how happy we are as fans. Right then. Let's get into it then. I'm going to try and last less than 1 hour and 3/4 this week. So, First player, because of how all the images saved, it's backs first, forwards second. So here we go. So, first player, Jonathan Williams of the Centres. Where would you think he should go this season? I'm thinking
Ooh,
top two.
yeah,
So,
it's 100% top two. Uh, Probably because of just how important he is for us. I am edging towards Beautiful Boy because he's pulled off some magic for us this season when he's been fit.
if rumours are to be believed, he was on the borderline of being signed for Cardiff.
I know we were talking about him being in the top category. He could have been in the bottom,
Yeah.
but that's all rumors and lies. He would never talk to them. Yeah, I'm leaning Beautiful Boy.
All right, okay. I'll agree with you then. I can't think of a good enough reason to downgrade him to top 23. Right, next, Charlie Titcombe. Now, this is complicated because he hasn't signed for Cardiff, but he has left limited game time. He can't go again. Has he done a job, or is he an honorary signed for Cardiff?
I say he has done a job. You know, he is one of a few players that's been quite. I don't want to be negative. The coaches, but anyone who listens to this will know I don't like the way a lot of our young players are treated in terms of the game time, and I include Charlie in that. Every time he's come onto the pitch, he has done everything he's needed to. Yes, there's been an odd mistake here and there, but again, that's down to having 10 minutes to play and
I'll tell you
realizing,
who's gutted he's leaving is Carmarthen Quins.
yeah, I mean, they've really missed him this season. They had a decent season by all accounts, more or less matching last year. But if Charlie was more readily available this season, they could have, I'm thinking that fifth place would have definitely been a lot more challenging for Pontypool to win. I'm saying that much.
Okay, so you think he should be and done a job?
Yeah,
Okay, I think that's maybe a little bit generous based on the game time that he's had. He hasn't technically signed for Cardiff though, and he can't go again. So that's
only
probably the
option.
most complicated one. All right then. Next, Tommy Rogers. Is there any debate about him going in Beautiful Boy?
Maybe lasting 80 a bit more, but yeah, Beautiful Boy.
Well, he made a point of coming over and saying hello to me in the Principality, so he's going in Beautiful Boy, even if you disagreed. Just linger on him a moment. 2 seasons ago we said that we were worried this boy's career was passing him by. He's rectified the situation.
That is, just shy of 24 months ago we were talking about that, and it's amazing the turnaround. Well, not the turnaround, the realization of talent that has finally occurred with him.
Yeah, yeah. Just get the ball in your hands more. Okay, Joe Roberts now missed a large part of the season with injury. When he came back from injury, he took a while to get going. Obviously, went into play for Wales in the Six Nations, had a good impact there. And then it was probably in the last 5 games of the season he really came on song. So, question is, Mark, does those 5 games get him into Beautiful Boy?
Even when he's not at his best, his defense is always around 90 to 95%. And as a 13, that saves games. And quite frankly, I don't think we would have been in a position to even get into the, top 8 had we not had Joe Roberts for those games earlier in the season outside of those last 5. So yeah, he's a local boy. He's Buddy Port. You got to keep the local boys beautiful.
All right then. Okay. So far, out of 4 players, we've got 3 in Beautiful Boy. This is going well. It shows how good the season's been. Next, Max Page. So, obviously, this is his breakthrough season. He did get a couple of games at the end of last season. Scored some incredible tries. Did he win try of the season in the end? Was that Blair Murray won it?
I'm not 100% sure. Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
That's
anyway,
one for us to think on.
good.
For us to think on.
Good season, breakthrough season. So again, another one in top three. I feel like done a job would be a bit harsh. He's a new player. He's got work-ons, I think, defensively. I don't think he's ready to step into the centres just yet. I'm happy to leave him on the wing. What are you saying?
If it was first 23, as in our first 23 outright, then we would be forced to put him in done a job because I don't think he breaks into our strongest 23. But given the season he has had, which has been great, you know,
He's in the Wales squad.
He's in the Wales squad. I got to tell you something. Other than again, it might tell you something more about the coaching and the scarcity of certain players. But wing is not actually a position we're quite low on at the minute. But yeah, he's a really really good player. I'm really looking forward to seeing his progression over the coming years. I think Beautiful Boy's got to be reserved for boys we expect to be in our starting 15. Done a job. He's more than done a job, so it's got to be top 23 for me.
All right, I'm on board with that. Johan Nicholas. Now he won. Was it Fans Player of the Season last season? Or he won an award last season. He's had limited game time. I think he's been unseated by Blair Murray coming in, who we'll talk about in a moment. Obviously, Ellis Mee has been a lot better than I think everybody expected.
Yeah.
So he's kind of lost his place in the team. He had a bad game against Connacht at the start of the season, chucking them the ball behind his own try line. So I'm kind of on done a job for Johan Nicholas this season.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I'm just being late to the game for some reason. I haven't pulled up all my spreadsheets as I normally do. If everyone loaded, I just wanted to check his actual game time for this year. If I ever get to it. Yes, I know it's me. Don't have to change me. Don't have to give me a warning. So where are we? Yo's next. Da, 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 da. Final friend name. He's quite low down. So
N for Nicholas.
I know, but I started with I for some reason. There he is. He's actually been in 16 games, 10 starts. So
Really? That's more than I thought.
He's not in my actual list that I was looking on. I've had to check a different one. How have I missed him out? Oh, terrible me. Not being very thorough there. So yeah, I think We'll Go Again would be a bit disingenuous towards him. He's not highlight reel star player sort of category, but when he's on that pitch, you can trust him. So done a job, 100%. Yeah.
Okay then. A boy who's new signing this season, into a couple of new signings actually now. I kind of like the fact that there's not real any conversation to be had kind of tells you the story is Blair Murray, straight into Beautiful Boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the question is, could it have gone any better?
Clicking on the ads. Whoa! What are you doing,
I know,
son?
it's because I had to click off the mouse. Calm down. He's in there now.
Well, that was a nice, easy one to talk about.
Yeah, I feel like we spoke about him plenty on other pods. Like we talked about our players of the season and things. He got a lot of chat on there. So there's that. Ellis Mee. He is technically like in his first choice left wing as we stand here today.
Correct. He does break the top 23. I think sort of similar to what we said about Max Page. You can see there's work-ons there. He's come in and done tremendously well was Nottingham a fully professional club? Because was this his first?
He would have been academy at Nottingham anyway. Like it wouldn't have been on a full contract.
Yeah. So for what is essentially his first time in a full professional environment, a top level professional environment. No disrespect to Nottingham intended in there. He's done amazing. So top 23 for me.
Okay, I'll go with that. I think as the season's gone on, some of his work-ons have been identified, but I think that he's got talent for days. And like you said, it's his first pro season, so it's not really worth criticizing him on any mistake that he's made, to be honest. But top 23, I agree. Not quite Beautiful Boy. Johan Lloyd has signed for Cardiff.
Who?
Anyway, Tommy Lewis. Tommy Lewis for me is our first we go again.
Yeah, he didn't get an opportunity. Obviously injured for huge parts of the season. I think he only accumulated 2 games. But obviously that was due to the emergence of Ellis, me, and Blair towards the back end of the season. But we know the talent he has. We were expecting him to be involved on last season's Wales Summer Tour. Obviously, that injury cruelly ruling him out. So yeah, there's nowhere else for him to really go. Unfortunately, we love you, Tommy.
Yeah.
Try to see more of you next season.
Evan Jones. Dwayne Peel's going who?
Really is.
So I'm he can't go again. Has he left? He's left, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's going.
Okay, so I think done a job for me. He can't go again. The fact that he didn't get much time off the bench isn't his fault. We didn't see much of him. If the done a job that he's done is sit on the bench, he's done that. Can't argue.
Yeah, done everything we asked him to do. Started the game or games. I want to say he started 2 games, maybe in one. But done everything that's been asked of him.
Yeah. Eddie James.
Ooh, this is a toughie.
Not in the Wales squad anymore. Like Ellis Mee was in the Wales squad earlier in the season, is no longer in it.
I love Eddie. I think he is probably the most talented and well-rounded of all of our centres. Obviously, he's still a kid. I think he's still, senior academy age. Obviously not on that style of contract for, good reason. Doesn't quite. I don't think he gets into beautiful boy. For me, he's 100% top 23. That's at a minimum. So, I do fully expect him to eclipse Johnny Williams and to eclipse him by a decent margin to once, he hits his peak, but, we're still talking a good few years before he comes to that moment. So for right now, yeah, I think top 23 works good for him.
I think so. He's been very good at times this season. I think Johnny came back and kind of made that jersey his own. Johnny's had a great season, to be fair. So, but like you, I think Eddie's ceiling is ridiculously high, and he'll be a beautiful boy for plenty of seasons moving forward in his career. Okay, Archie Hughes then. So, got injured in pre-season. Probably the season hasn't gone how he would have wanted when he came back from injury in terms of the opportunities that he's got. So you could argue for Archie that it's kind of a we go again, because we were kind of hoping that he'd start pushing Gareth Davis for that first choice spot by the end of this season. That's not really happened.
No, it hasn't. And, given his age profile, I know there's so much talent there and I love this kid. It was probably a bit naive of us to think that he's going to be challenging a player as supremely talented as Cowdo. To put him in we go again, if you'd asked me, I don't know, Judgment Day weekend, I'd have been like, yeah, that sounds about right. But given his performances since Cowdo's been injured, I think it would be a disservice of him.
It's only 1.5 games.
Still an immense 1.5 games. Immense. Was it 1.5 or was it 2.5?
No, Cowdo got injured against the Sharks. Oh no, it was 2.5. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. Christ, trying to take away
Oh,
Archie's
sorry.
minutes. Who are you, Dwayne? Come on. Nah. Yeah, all jokes aside, he is in our first 23. Well, I mean, this season just gone, obviously. New things come in with Dane returning. But I don't want to put him in we go again. I don't. But done a job. I mean, he was asked to sit on the bench a lot, just like Evan. Got to think of that.
Do we put him in done a job as a compromise?
I think it's a fair compromise that I get my way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a compromise. Steph Evans. So I think I know where we're going to put Steph, but I think if this is his last ever season as a Scarlet, obviously record try scorer or second behind Cowdor. So for him to finish it off as kind of done a job kind of does a bit of disservice to his Scarlet's career to date. But I think going off this season, what was it, one appearance?
Yeah, I mean, people got to remember when it was announced that Steph was leaving. The main discourse that I saw was he's only 30. You know, why is he? You know, his career really didn't pan out the way they wanted, or whatever. But people have seriously forgotten that he's had like 11 seasons at the top. There's not many, majority of pros you'll tend to find are around that 8 season mark, up to 10, to get that, that, what is it called? A testimonial year or whatever, they call it. That takes a lot of doing and some standard of player. If it wasn't the case that he didn't emerge like, say, Josh Adams till a couple years after, he'd still have 2 more years or so to go, which is exactly what we're seeing with Josh. I'm using him as a comparison because they're the same age and they were in our academy at the same time. Steph started a good couple of years younger, and he's ended a couple of years younger. Amazing career. I can. We're all going to hark back to those glory seasons around 2016, 17, and onwards, and just everything positive we did just seemed to resolve around him. It was amazing watching him. It does, like you say, feel a bit of a disservice that he's just done a job to finish his career, but it's just how things have moved on, and it's just a natural evolution of the game. 11 seasons at the top end of professional rugby. It's going to come time eventually.
Yeah. Okay. That's Steph. Gareth Davis. He's got to go in Beautiful Boy based on the season that he's had, surely.
Oh, I was thinking he could go honorary signed for Cardiff because they bloody well need him. Yeah. Obviously, issues with number 2 and 3, number 9s, have contributed to this a fair bit, but you can't knock how great of a player Cowdor is. Like, I know I've already said it a few times. He is still the best Welsh number 9 playing professional rugby at the minute. There's too many positives to talk about, too many to hark on. But yeah, he's beaten out so many other players repeatedly over his career, and he's still going. Apparently, he might be going for more than just the one more season as well, which, depending on how our 9s progress, could be a godsend. Another season, was absolutely brilliant. And if to get another 2 out of him, if his body lets him, obviously, of course, he is.
Well, you can't say that Dwayne hasn't got his money's worth out of him.
Oh, definitely this season. I mean, even with those 2.5 games injured, what did he play? The 20 others? It's just ridiculous the amount of minutes as a 9 that he's put in this season. And
Well, I remember when Dwayne was asked, like, what do you think of Gareth Davis retiring from Wales? And Dwayne said, oh, it's great. It means he can play more for us.
he weren't kidding.
Yeah. Right. Oh, okay. Sam Costello is the beautifulest of all the beautiful boys, and he's going in there.
I mean, beautifulest, is that even a word? Well, it is a word for Sammy Costello.
You could argue that he's missed a lot of the season, and he had a bit of a iffy start to the season, but when he came back for the run-in, like, he's why we got in the playoffs. And he's the best fly-off in Wales by a long way. And if he's not in Beautiful Boy on my podcast, then it's just not my podcast anymore.
Well, I'm thinking we could do a 6th tier above Beautiful Boy and just have Sam Costello, because that's where he deserves to be. I probably might put Josh McLeod in there as well, but yeah.
Anyway, who's next? Oh, speaking of, Marnus van der Merwe.
Oof. Where to put Marnus? He's gone straight into Beautiful Boy. I wonder why he's done that.
Springbok Marnus, we're going to have to call him next season. He might play against the Barbarians this weekend, you know.
I was about to say you might have to see you next week. That would be awesome if he just is it a capped game? Please tell me it's a capped game.
I don't know if it's a capped game. There will be pictures of him wearing a Springbok jersey in a game of rugby.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome for him. I just hope that Kabi and Co have already got him tied down for a good few more seasons, just to give time for Harry Thomas and the younger boys to present into that first team, because he's just been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely agree. All right, I think this is Isaac Young. I weirdly had a picture on the URC website, considering one or two others didn't.
He looks like him. I can't quite. It's not zoomed in
Makes
enough.
sense if he's next to Marnus van der Merwe in the alphabet. We're into the forwards now. So Young being towards the end of the alphabet.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so did he even play this season?
No, he's been injured for vast majority of it.
Okay, we go again, Isaac. Right, I think this is Ben Williams. He hasn't played for us this season, has he?
Oh, I'm gonna have to get low again. Looks like him. But yeah, it's alphabetical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we go again. He should get some opportunities.
Well, he was good last season when he played, and then he stopped playing. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting to know the story behind that.
He's been injured for a good chunk. He was with Carmarthen Quins for the start of the season, which was understandable given the stocks that we had.
Yeah. So not much else to add. It's weird to think that the start of the season before this, he was starting down in South Africa at number 8, and then he had that massive. Do you remember that massive hit against Edinburgh that he had that we posted and he got taken down as being graphic and violent?
Yeah, let him cook, wasn't it? The tag or whatever it was for that.
we got a second one of those, and I challenged. I can't remember who it was, but we had a second one got taken down for being graphic and violent by TikTok, and I challenged it, and I said this is a rugby player in a rugby match that was televised live at the time, and they let me keep it back up. So maybe I could have challenged it. Although I do think that I did appeal the Ben Williams one, and they said no, this is not suitable for our app.
Meh, absolutely meh.
Okay. Next is Sam Wainwright. He has signed for Cardiff.
Yeah, this is the one I'm feeling a bit aggrieved by. He's been awesome every time he's stepped on field. Obviously, Big Heza Thomas has been our first choice, and for obvious reasons, he is just that good. But that's what you'd expect of an international, 30-odd-year-old tight end. Well, current international, I should really say. Sam, whilst not a destructive scrummager, like people tend to only see as the positive type of scrummager, you can't be any other type. You're either winning penalties or and pushing people back, otherwise you're not good enough. But no, Sam is an absolute rock of a man. To move him takes mountains, and we've seen that repeatedly this season. And since he's been with us, I mean, it's only been not even 3 years, because he signed for us late in the November or December, I think it was, of 22. So yeah, I'm a little bit gutted by this. Looking at our tight end stocks, Henry's not going to last forever, unfortunately. Hawk coming back is awesome. Then we got Archer Holtz, which Jury, unfortunately, still out because he's been unwell as well.
He's not in this list, actually. I can tell you immediately that he's not on the URC website with a photo, because he was a mid-season signing.
He wasn't a mid-season signing.
Yes, he was.
He didn't get here till November because of whatever reason. I think it was his contract situation, but that's not mid-season. I was 5 games in, 6 games in.
Right. Okay. Well, where would Archer Holtz go if he was in the list?
We go again.
Probably. On to the main man himself then. And I call Sam Costello the beautifulest boy, but you might tell me that this man is Big Hezza Thomas. Come in, by the way, the most successful scrum in the URC. I'll let you talk about this man.
What isn't there to say about Henry Thomas? I mean, the work he puts around the field
Massively underrated around the field.
Yeah, goes seriously unnoticed. You find a lot of props tend to go one of two ways: either be like awesome around the park, awesome in the scrum, set piece, whatever you want to call it, and then the ones that are good at both, they tend to be more middling. So they're a really good prop. Like top end great at either one, but there's someone who you want in that 23. Henry just does everything, and just like Sam, he can be a rock, but the way he can attack an opposition loose head and a hooker is something we haven't seen for a good while. Like he's a different type of scrummager to what Samson Lee was, but he's probably the closest one we can really align him to. The way
everyone says he's had a big impact at the line out as well.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think Alec Hepburn has had massive, but all three of our front row signings have had big impact on that front for obvious reason. They are the lifters and the main thrower, so you'd expect that. But in terms of that, I think it's more of their off-field presence. So, around the training park, their attitude, their professionalism. I think it might have just not made a few boys pull their finger, just sort of just upped that ante a little bit, just turned the volume up to max a bit closer. Like, I think that's the sort of impact we've seen from those three boys specifically. But yeah, Henry's amazing. Love watching him play.
I agree. Beautiful boy he goes. Now, Jared Taylor is next on the list. So I don't know how much he's actually played. It doesn't feel like very much, but I think the question is, can he go again? Because he's one of the boys that we think might yet leave.
Well, he's been involved in 18 games this season, but
wow, okay, a lot more than I thought.
He's only started 4. So that kind of tells you where his minutes are. There's still some talk that there might be another back rower to go. I mean, all signs of what people talking around, these are just rumors, obviously, are that is going to be Jared Taylor. And that's understandable. He's a young South African, and he kind of took a shot coming up here. He's had a year and a bit. I'd kind of understand that move for him personally. And obviously, they thought so highly of him, back when he was in that baby Bok age range, deciding to stick with his education over the baby box and then dropping out bloody less than 6 months later. That's got to be a story to tell your grandkids. What was the stupidest mistake you ever made? But yeah, he's a solid player. He could become something immense in years to come. Who knows? But yeah, I think for the sake of it, we put him in We Go Again because he's currently not left.
Is it fair to put him in We Go Again with that many minutes?
Well, yeah, he needs to break into the first team, doesn't he? He needs to get that first 15 more often.
Okay, a bit of a contentious one. Maybe people can let us know in the comments. If you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We want to get this channel to 2,000 subscribers. And if you're deep into this one, you clearly enjoy it. So if you're not subscribed, what's going on?
Reviews as well. We don't mind a 5-star review if you don't mind posting it. You can call us shit. Just leave it 5 stars.
Yeah, good point, Mark. Good point. Right, next, Jack Price. So Jack Price is a player who we've interviewed on the show. So if he's a friend of the pod, we know that the coaches like Albert Vandenberg rate him, but he's not getting that many minutes. Now, I guess this is a good moment to mention it. Is second rows we've maybe with Alex Craig leaving, we might be looking to sign a second row. Who has another second row left that I'm forgetting? Morgan Jones and Ed Scragg are both left as well.
Yeah.
So does that mean he's going to get more minutes, or do you think we'll sign someone?
I mean, looking at our lock stocks, we really
And
could
barrels.
do nice. I really like that. Just looking at them, we do need at least one more senior squad lock. Um, wherever that would fall, whether it be someone in the first 23, someone, as a traveling reserve, or even just a squad lock. But yeah, if we are looking to sign another player, I mean, I would like for us to go for a 10 first, an actual experienced 10. But,
Me too.
forwards win games, and forwards tend to get. Then again, if you saw me, this goes out against my point. Forwards tend to get injured more often than backs. And yeah, so what are we looking at? We're looking at Sam Lowsey and Max Douglas. Oh, I don't know. See, is it going to be Sam Lowsey and Jake Ball again? Are we going to use Max as a 6? Uh, Given everybody's fit, I'd like to see a little bit more of Jack next season because I think he was. I do have it right here if I can look properly. So 3 starts, 11 appearances in total. He's coming. He's coming in. I think he's only either a year or 2 years younger than Morgan Jones. So it's at that point now where he really needs to be involved in our match day squad more often than not. How that happens, whether it's bench more, or start him more, I'm not really bothered either way. But it seems to be we need to see him involved anymore if he's going to continue on any sort of upward trajectory. So I'd like to see more of him. I really do, and he has done a job when we've asked him. Uh, I just again, when you look online, and if you're not already, a starting 15 worthy player, or even really pushing hard from the bench for that starting berth, it seems that all people ever, oh, you're crap, you're not good enough, you're a semi-pro. Ages that especially young forwards, step up. I mean, when you talk about like a 23-year-old prop or even a 23-year-old lock, a lot of the times they're coming in for their first real minutes at this level. So for Jack to be as experienced as he is right now is a positive. So cut it all short. Yes, I'd like to see more of him. Will we see more? Oh, that's a different question. Depends how our squad shapes up for the rest of the season.
So where are we rating him for this season?
Done a job. I'm putting him in. I'm not putting him where you go again. He deserved that try on his 50th. Cruelly ruled out for no reason.
Okay. All right. So this is your consolation prize, Jack. Um, Tane Plumtree. He's a beautiful boy.
He is a beautiful boy. Um, yeah, I think we've already said my
He
piece
should
on what.
definitely be playing for Wales. I don't understand the whole like, oh, should he be playing for Wales or in and out of the squad thing? He's clearly should be playing for Wales.
It's where he plays for Wales, and I actually had this discussion with somebody because I know I think I said my piece on him last week or whenever it was that I think he's more or less a full package as a 6, but he's still got a fair bit of learning to do as an 8. And given our stocks at 8 in Wales in general, he could be the next long serving number 8 the Wales has. Like we look at it like obviously Faltau is. I don't know how he's still holding on. I really don't. It's a tremendous effort
With every
and a
passing
test.
day, I become more convinced that Andy Farrell has absolutely dropped a clanger by not picking Talupe Faletau for the Lions. But that's not a Scarlets topic.
Yeah, a massive testament to the man that he has lasted and played at this level for so long. I think in Aaron Wainwright, I mean, I don't really. He's a really good player. He deserves to be in that Welsh 23, but starting 8. issues. And then when you're looking at the guys around, Mackenzie Martin, he was just right place, right time. He struggled a lot. And there's talk of him going on loan to the Dragons. That should tell you enough. Morgan Morse just doesn't fit, isn't doing the right sort of thing that's wanted by any Wales coach. And then Morgan Morris is the young kid that people are raising.
No, it's the other way around. Morgan Morse is the young one.
Oh, whatever way around it is. And so when you're talking about the younger one, you don't know how his career is going to pan out. I hope to God this doesn't happen, but we've seen many players pick up injuries before the age of 21, and their entire career just go down the drain like that. You can't put your eggs in a basket.
Harry
of someone.
Robinson is the name that springs to mind.
Yep. Another Owen Williams who broke his neck over in, I want to say, Hong Kong during the Sevens.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great player. Anything can happen. So in terms of that 8 battle right now, I think we should be investing in Tane to see if this is going to be a viable option going forward.
I agree. Anyway, you've been in Beautiful Boy for a hot minute now, Tane. The only man on the URC website whose picture is blurry, not because it was taken with a poor camera, but just because he's that wild.
It's not that. His muscles were vibrating so much the photo couldn't get a still image.
Sam O'Connor. Now, you are chairman of the Sam O'Connor fan club.
Yeah, I am a fan of Sam. Again, we haven't seen much of him, mainly due to Alec being fit for the entire season and Kemsley being fit for a good chunk of it. So he's had 10 appearances off the bench. Would have had a couple more if he didn't tear a hamstring in the last few games, which was quite funny to read that when he posted on Insta his hospital photo. He had all his bicep wrapped up and thinking, oh, he's had a bicep injury, and then to read that, oh, I've had torn my hamstring. Quite funny. So that's going to be a hard one to recover from, but I have no doubt the guy will. Again, he's signed his first professional contract now, so he's 23. We've seen, he's in double figures for games. He's looking good. He's looking quite powerful. And the way that our loose heads are lined up at the minute, there's lovely age gaps between them. So we got Alec at 32, Kems will be 27 now next month. Then we got Sock, who's 23, and then we got Josh Morse coming, who's got massive potential, and people are really excited about this kid at 20 years old, just behind him. So it seems that we've got things pretty good on that front, so I'm enjoying that. Yeah, Sock. I got to try not to put that extra S on the end. It could be really weird. He's looked promising every time he's come on, even when he's packing down in the front row. You got to remember it is a tremendous effort.
Mark, I'm gonna have to rush you here.
Okay, I'm done. Go for it. Go on. Sock's awesome. Stick with
Where's he going?
Job. Done a job.
Done a job. There we go. Right, Kemsley Mathias. Now, if you're the chairman of this Sam O'Connor fan club, I don't know what you are of the Kemsley Mathias fan club. You're selling the t-shirts, the celebratory mugs.
I'm 100% the creepy merch guy.
So, a friend of the pod, another friend of the pod. I feel like top 23. You have to be careful not for recency bias because he started the season like an absolute house on fire.
100%. He was massive part in why our scrum set piece was basically ranked first in all of Europe for that first block of games. Injury, never great, but it happens. He did manage to play some like 15 games in the end, so great.
Is he in the Wales squad for Japan? I can't remember. No, he's not. Okay.
No, which I think will do him the world of good. Physically.
Wales
mentally.
have been in a 4-week training camp for 2 friendlies with Japan under the stewardship of an interim coach. What is going on?
Yeah, it's a fun setup, shall we say. But yeah, in terms of Kems, he's great. He really is. I think he is the best scrummaging loose head we've got. I will talk about the other loose heads in and around the Welsh squad if you want me to. I'm not going
No.
to, because you don't want that on this podcast right now. But yeah, Kemps is definitely top 23. If it weren't for that injury, he'd 100% be Beautiful Boy, because the form he had would have definitely continued. And being a prop specifically is one of the hardest positions to return from injury wise, especially when you were at such a high level performance before the injury.
Okay, then. Top 23. Right. Josh McLeod. Now,
Sam Costello category.
so I remember when Josh McLeod was made Scarlets captain, we were all going, eh? And we said that how can you have a captain who's injured all the time? And for his first season as captain, he was injured all the time. And we had a bad season. This season, he got coach's player of the year. I probably would have picked him as player of the year if it was me. He is so vital to the Scarlets in terms of his leadership and his work at the breakdown. Basically we're a team that doesn't do rucks, but if we do a ruck, Josh McLeod is at it. Like, talk about a vital player. Like, they don't come more vital.
No, 100%. And it's with these types of players. That's why we said about this. I said about a Sam Costello category, putting him in it and Josh in it, because when these boys are on the pitch, you see a fundamental change in everyone around them. Everything changes, and it is that leadership, that organization that they bring to the table. And Josh defensively, the way he orchestrates everything is brilliant, and how more than anything, he stands up, he does it, and he says, "Look, follow me, I'll get us through this," and he will go and he will do some damage, and it lifts everybody's spirits, whether that's a thumping tackle, just a little bit of dark arts at the ruck, maybe a decent jackal, whatever it may be. Josh will do something, and he will just lift everyone around him, and you can't buy that. You really can't.
Yeah, I couldn't heap more praise on him. Like I said, I would have named him our player of the season. Sam Lousy. Not sure about this one. This is because the thing about locks is you often don't notice things that locks do. Like there's a reason that's like when you think of a good lock internationally, you think of someone like Ibn Etzebeth or Archer Snyman, who are up there with the best players in the world. Because if you can stand out as a lock, you're probably pretty darn good. Because let's be real for a second here. To be a lock in rugby, you need to be 6'4", 6'5", or more. To be an international lock, you need to be 6'8". So if you're not that, you're not going to be a top lock. And if you are that, you're going to get picked at lock regardless of whether you're actually a good player or not. So that's why a lot of locks don't really stand out. Having said all that, Sam Lousy is a lock who tends to stand out one way or another.
Yeah, there's no doubt in there. He's not the biggest of locks, as in he seems to have quite a
He's
slender
actually,
build. He's quite athletic.
according to the internet, he is quite heavy despite being quite slender, which makes me think he might be dense. Tongans maybe are dense people.
Yeah, they probably are a dense. I mean, when you talk like someone like Karen Tuapolotu, who's 125 kilos, you're like, wow. I mean, you put the
Oh,
the
congratulations, Carwin, on your contract extension at Poe, by the way.
awesome stuff. We expect you back here next season. Well, season after next, whatever, however you want to come across by you.
Yeah,
But
Poe's back. Poe's back three, back row next season. Gorgadze from Georgia, Facundo Issa, he's amazing, and Carwin Tuapolotu. And they've signed Julian Montoya, the Argentina captain. Poe are going to be a team to watch next season. Can't wait.
well, let's be honest. If anyone can have the sort of impact Carwin had with them, then amazing. They went from a relegation battling team to playoffs. So you couldn't ask for any more of an impact than that. Obviously, it wasn't just him. It was, but there we go. Yeah, some very very dense Tongans is okay. Tongans are dense on the weight scales. I don't know how to put this politely. I really don't.
They're very nice people. I'm sure they won't get offended. Right, but anyway, so is he top 23?
Uh, he's at least top 23. Do we know how many charge downs and bloody
He
turnovers he's
got pinged for
created?
being offside at a lot of charge downs that he was never offside for.
I know. It's disgusting. You'd think that the linesman or the ARs, whatever you want to call them, would have a better view of this, but no, he keeps getting silly calls against him for whatever reason.
I'll never forget against Munster last season. He got pinged for being offside at a ruck that didn't exist. I'll never forget that. Anyway, he's gone in top 23. This is just what's happened. Ooh, right. Morgan Jones has left the Scarlets, didn't play a minute for us this season.
He could still sign for Cardiff.
He could still sign for Cardiff.
RFC.
Oh dear, oh dear. I can't put him in done a job because he hasn't played.
I mean, he done his job in training. Oh, at Llandovery. Well, no, he didn't do his job at Llandovery, did he? Because he didn't make the damn league final. Ugh. I'm not annoyed at that.
Right. Let's pretend he's signed for Cardiff. Okay, Alec Hepburn. Now, I do want to. Have I said how many times have I said this now?
Recency
Alec
bias.
Hepburn, first half of the season. Ooh, this isn't working. Second half of the season. Oh my God, this guy's incredible. And I can pinpoint the moment to when things changed. It was when he got a haircut.
Yeah, which is probably the worst decision he made, like, for me. Like,
But
I don't think it's playing really
his hair
affected.
was too luscious to be a front rower. As soon as he got a slightly rubbish buzz cut, he started tearing up trees.
Well, haven't you ever seen front rows with scrum caps? That's what they're hiding. They're hiding the locks. But yeah, I again can't emphasize how good Alec has been this, since that haircut. Then, shall we say?
Luckily, his photo on the website is with the old hair.
Yay! Get to see the flowing locks of the one and only Mr. Hepburn.
So I think he's got to be, if you're taking the whole season into account, I think he's got to be in top 23.
I think he's in Beautiful Boy just for that scrum against Porter. That one that you done. We
But
did
for
the
the first 10 games, he was virgin on We Go Again.
He was virgin on
Most yellow carded
the
player,
contract.
most yellow carded player in the URC with 4.
Unjustified, terrible decisions, every single one of them. There were a couple of in there that I was scratching. I can't think of them now, but I can remember at the time just thinking on, what? But no, I think his attitude around scrimmaging is brilliant. The way he celebrates certain things is so fun and enjoyable to see. And quite obviously, he's a good enough scrummager to play internationally for 2 different countries. So yeah, I'm a beautiful boy sort of person. So let's stick him a beautiful boy.
Well, I don't know. No, I'm going to have to go top 23 because he did struggle at the beginning of the season.
But you haven't said that about anybody else.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you've gone, this is recency bias, but they've been really good, so let's put them up here. Terrible decision. You can see he was controlling things, people.
All right, well, okay. Next one's Vaya Fafita.
Vaya Fafita. I mean, does he even play for us? I mean, does he really? I think he plays for everyone, to be honest. Every single position on that pitch, he would do a job in more than. He's just a different
I'm convinced
level.
he could. He's a professional level centre every day of the week.
Oh, easy, 100% easy.
So yeah, look, what is there to say? We've got Vaya Fafita,
and he's kind of good,
and he's a bit good, If he was Welsh, I'll say less. Sean Evans I can definitely see Cardiff signing him.
Their
The thing is, as a hooker or as a back row.
He's not going to sign for Cardiff as it currently stands. I'll tell you why off it. But
Ooh, gossip, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, I think done a job because he came in. He was able to give Marnus or Ryan, whoever it was, a break for those couple of games that he did play. So yeah, that's done a job.
Okay. Ryan Elias. Ooh. Mm.
Ryan is still underrated. He's really still underrated, and
Marnus van der Merwe coming in and tearing up trees all season hasn't helped him.
no, it hasn't helped him, but it's always been a case of, well, I say always, it's mostly been a case of there's someone in front of him at club, which usually meant country as well. Obviously, he got compared to Ken Owens for the majority of his career, and then now he's compared with Dewi Lake, and you like those two boys, obviously hugely different physical profiles, and that's what people focus on. And then if they can pick out something of his game that's not good, or goes a bit awry sometimes, they'll just go for it because he's a tremendous scrummager and hooker. He really is tremendous. You don't get the sort of stats we do without the hookers of Elias and Marnus. You really don't. And his darts are nowhere near as bad as people tend to think. The ones that he does miss with Wales obviously get emphasised so much more. And let's be honest, the amount of people who talk online, that's probably the only time they ever see him play. So
Yeah,
that
true.
is the general consensus around him because of
Also,
what happens
like
in the real shirt.
in the autumn, when Dewi Lake was on, they were thrown to the front. As soon as Ryan Elias comes on, they go like, "Oh, three to the back, please, in a row. Cheers, mate."
It's completely different, and I do, like I said at the start of this, I do still think he's underrated. He's a top 23 for me.
Mm.
I'd have him in my 23 all day, every day.
Well, no, he is in the 23. He's clearly in our first 23 at the moment. Obviously, Harry Thomas is coming up on railway lines, but I don't know. I'm kind of thinking done a job. I just can't think of a standout Ryan Elias moment from this season.
You don't need standout performances. You just need that consistency, game in, game
Everybody
out. That's
else
what
in
he
done a
gives.
job. Everyone else in top 23 has had a standout moment. Martin is thinking.
Yeah, I am, because my memories on this are not great. I'm not like you. I don't have my little notepad next to me to remember everything.
Yes, you do. You've got a leather bound one.
I do have a leather bound one, but I don't use it for this sort of stuff. That's literally, my secret stuff. I'll chuck a couple of things in it every now and then when I don't have a choice, but it's mostly things like the kid's height and important crap like that. Well, I guess we can tell who's controlling this again. He goes and done a job. This is why we need.
I've been deferring to you all the time. Right. Max Douglas. Hell of a signing. A classic case of a signing that when we signed him, people were either not fussed or fans of other regions were taking the mick. And who's laughing now?
His brother.
And his brother's laughing, yeah. Um, because when we've interviewed players, everyone's mentioned that he's been good. So
Yeah.
that kind of makes me think he's a beautiful boy.
The only time he hasn't been a beautiful boy is when he hasn't been on the pitch. So this is all about the pitch. He's been a beautiful boy.
Okay, cool. Dan Davis.
Done a job.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of wasn't getting picked towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Didn't
I
he
mean,
have slightly dodgy picks for dinner party guests as well? Did he
oh
pick
yeah.
Donald Trump?
Yeah, there was a few red flags in our interview. That was meant to be a Tommy Rogers interview, but someone had a coffee related emergency. So you know what, we might have to drop Tommy Rogers down one now after remembering that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and his nickname is, I think it was Stinky, he said, if I'm remembering rightly. So, I don't think
The,
you can be top 23 with a
the
nickname like that.
most picked favorite player of the Scarlets this season when we asked them, they said Jonah Lomu. I'm pretty sure half of them weren't born when Jonah Lomu was playing. And then most picked dinner guest was Tiger Woods.
Yeah, that works out right though, and he is one of the greater golfers.
Well,
Like I don't,
yeah, that's not
I
the
don't.
point, Mark. It's just a bit bored. As someone who doesn't golf, I find golf chat extremely boring.
Well, you can't just sit down and just have it on the TV for a couple hours on whatever day of the week it is. I used to love that when I was
I'd
younger, but
rather go for a walk, like, because that's what I'm watching. I'm gonna be
no,
triggering all sorts of people who love golf here.
no, like literally when I was, I say I was a kid, I was driving at this point, so I weren't that young. Finishing work 4 o'clock on a Sunday in a co-op, and then just driving back home. Still living with mum and dad at this point. I know I should have been out at that point. I did have a kid, and and just collapsing down and just sticking it on. I mean, I think it was BBC back then. I know, talking about this now, talking about me having a kid back then. I actually had the letter through today for my eldest national insurance number. I've never felt so old in all my life. Oh my god.
I saw a meme the other day that was someone goes up to a bar and hands over their ID, and the barman says, "This is in America," and the barman says, "No, I can't serve you. You were only born in 2004." And they go, "Yeah, 2004 was 21 years ago." Like, what?
Is Time is scary, because it doesn't always click on in your head. Like I can, if I'm on my own walking down
You know the
yeah,
Simpsons.
aye,
You know
everyone
the
knows the
episode
Simpsons.
who, you know this episode Who Shot Mr. Burns?
I do know it, but I couldn't pinpoint any part of it right now. It was
That
Maggie.
that is when that was first aired. That is closer to the moon landings than it is to today.
Well, no, because the moon landings didn't happen. Nah, you're talking. That is a scary fact.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ.
Anyways, Scarlet Squad.
Oh
So
God, yes. No moon landings. Oh wait, that works out twice now.
yeah, Alex Craig is the last one. Now, Alex Craig had a category named after himself last season. That's how good he was. He was our player of the season. Now, he
Yeah,
hasn't signed for Cardiff. He signed for Glasgow.
I
He's
mean,
good. Is he top 23?
yeah, I'll keep him in top 23. I don't think he's been as good as last
But I
season.
think the players around him have
Yes,
caught up.
not so much caught up, of more turned up because obviously Max Douglas coming in again, revelation. I was on the fence when we signed. I was like, okay, I don't know enough about this kid. Let's wait and see. And by God, I'm glad I reserved judgment because he's been awesome. But yeah, Alex he is up there. He deserves his spot up with a Scottish team. Obviously, he is Scottish through his mother. I want to say.
I think he just is Scottish.
Well, then he's definitely Scottish through his mother. Uh, but yeah,
He's
no,
Scottish due to where his mother was when he came out of her.
yes, that suits. But we do have a history of sending Scottish internationals back to their homeland, only for them to return. It's happened once, but you never know.
Okay, so that's the whole squad done, everybody.
That's
We've
the
got,
whole squad.
oh, yeah, I think so. We've got 12 players. While I'm talking now, have a bit of a think in case we missed anybody. Got
Okay. Oh, see,
12.
we
Think in your head while I'm talking. Right, thank you. 12 players in Beautiful Boy. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in top 23. So in the top two categories, we've got 19 players. So less than 23. Moving on. In Done a Job, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we've got 4 in We Go Again, and then 3 in Signed for Cardiff, even though only 2 have actually signed for Cardiff. So most populous area is Beautiful Boy, which I think goes to show how happy we've been with our season. And yeah, so job well done, Mark. Well done, everybody. Well done for listening. Anyway, The headlines from Martin are this. Martin.
Okay, so there's a couple we've missed, but it's
Okay.
kind of understandable. Gabe Hawley.
Oh, yes, yes. Done a job. I don't think he's quite qualified for top 23 yet,
No,
but I
I
think that he's thrown in the deep end for goodness sake, and he's swum.
massively thrown in the deep end. Never played a game of men's rugby, and to
He's
then
playing for
be
Brunel
playing,
University.
yeah, and not even in back Super League in one of the lower divisions. So wow. There's Louis Trevette, who was a loan sign-in for one game, and we did mention him, but he wasn't on the URC website, probably removed by this point. But Carwin Tuapolotu,
Oh,
he
yeah.
did play a game for us. So yeah,
Oh, Jack Davis as well. Another one.
Why didn't I count that then? Oh, there he is. Damn, I'm not reading properly.
Oh, well.
There's too many different deals. There's also all the players that turned out, for the development games, the friendlies. So many players
How
to
would we
discuss.
rate the coaching ticket this season?
Um, I'd give Peel a C plus.
Ooh, that's a bit harsh. I'd go more than that. I'd give him a B plus. I think
A
the things that
B
he's got
plus.
wrong are use of the bench and just his not trusting of players and sticking by one or two that maybe could have done with a spell out of the team. I think that look, the Scarlets are the most yellow carded team in the URC. No red cards, but the most yellow carded team. And that starts at home. Discipline starts at home. That's when I've asked coaches about it, what they told me. So that's a mark against him. And uh, uh, I don't know if I can just blame our kicks not being long enough. And also opting for the three too much. So that's kind of the marks against Dwayne. But I think things that are marks for Dwayne is our attack. While when it's worked has been spectacular, has been absolutely fantastic. Clearly, the players have bought into what he's asking them to do. He's managed to turn the ship around, and we've put together a full season's worth of performances. And generally, we're in a better place at the end of the season than when we started it. So I think I'd go for a B plus A minus for Dwayne Peel.
Wow. I'm more along the
And he
lines
looked
of
very nice in his salmon pink shirt on S4C the other day.
he did. I can't argue that. I mean, you just listed off a lot of things for someone who's in that B plus A minus category. You could have pulled me up to a B minus. You really could have. But there's even your positive. Our attackers looked really good when it worked. And for me, it's more of a case of I'm looking at it over. Not looking. I'm basing on this season, but I'm looking at it overall. I mean, do I see Scarlets as a team that just about get eighth? No, we really shouldn't be. I do think sixth should be the lowest we should accept, and we should be pushing to get higher.
I actually predicted we finish sixth at the beginning of the season. But I was being knowingly one-eyed.
No, not really. We could have finished here with the last couple of games to go. That's
Yeah,
not
we
one-eyed at
done.
all.
Could have done.
That's not one-eyed at all. But yeah, that's my opinion. There's a lot of work on, and we're not where we should be. Which it does boil down to the head coach. Not all his fault, but obviously it comes on him. Who are we doing next? Albert, Jared?
Yeah, Jared.
Jared. I'll give Jared a B. The defense has been much improved. Again,
I think we're rated as the top defense in the URC on the URC website that doesn't take into account how many tries or points you conceded when rating your defense.
yeah, it's good. We're massively improved, and when rating Jared specifically, I know this kind of affects Dwayne as well. His full attention isn't on the defense. He's also taking parts of the attack as well. So I give a caveat in with that as well.
But our defense is good.
Our defense is good. It's good. It's borderline really good. It's pushing, it's pushing really good into the great category, which would be, that A grade for me. How about you?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think it's still a little bit unclear, isn't it, as to what the split between him and Dwayne is. But I agree with you. And then Albert, I think Albert deserves an A, probably, just with the progress that they've made, unless you just put it down to the signings. Was it the coaching or was it the signings?
Well, it was probably the coach that helped identify the signings. So,
Well, our set piece is rubbish. We better sign some better front rowers.
basically, yeah, I kind of got to put Emir in here as well because I don't
It's
want to
another
really
one's a bit
rate.
blurry, isn't it? Emmy's doing less with the first team next season with Bradley Davis coming in. So Emmy's, I think, now looking at more academy stuff.
Yeah, he's taken the role that's been left by Babs Gareth Williams, former defense coach of ours. Before Jared booted him out of position because things weren't working. And now he's apparently left by his own accord. So Emmy will be spending more time with Scott Snedden and that academy group. Obviously, Emmy was transition coach previously, so it's not something that's foreign to him. Fully expect him to take the job with both hands and really run with it. That does obviously, like you said, take his time away from the scrum a bit more. But I do think Albert has been in and around that, and that's one of the reasons why Bradley's coming in. I think that's sort of a mentorship sort of program we're trialing. I mean, as Welsh rugby, not as just the Scarlets. I do think that's a good idea, mind. So, yeah, I was in that B plus A minus category for Albert because set piece has been great, absolutely great. Our forwards, I think there's still a little
I think
bit of work,
we still need to work on our ball carrying, and maybe that's why Bradley Davis has been brought in.
but contact skills, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's my only real downfall is how we use our forwards in and around the field, both in an attack and defense. But mostly in attack, how we resource rucks, how they carry the pods in which they carry their organization, which three going together, who's your pod, who do you try and get with majority of the time, etc. I think that needs to be more refined, more well drilled, and that will help. Carney, I think he's in an A category because our injury list has been
Yeah.
more or less non-existent for.
Yeah, we're a very fit team, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think one of the targets.
Mark,
This
how
yeah.
hard is it to get rugby players fit? Like they're in training every day.
Yeah, but they like to eat. They need to eat. We're talking like 5-figure calorie sums.
Yeah, but he didn't
You,
feed him.
yeah, but exactly. You can't get that just by eating kale and spinach. They're taking the wrong things. They're eating a bit of cake on the side, of donut here, donut there, and then that all contributes
But
to.
these are all absolute gym noises. Like when I interviewed Gamze Mathias, he got all worked up when we started talking about workouts and things. Like, I don't know. I don't fucking know anything about working out, so but all right. I mean, there's nothing to criticize Shane Carney on, is there?
I mean, no, but you can run. You've got a runner's body.
Theoretically, if I didn't have an asthma attack after 20 meters.
You ain't got asthma. It's just a lie you've been telling
You just had
yourself
to
for
do
all
the
these
impression
years.
of an inhaler to begin with that, just to mock me.
That really weren't. I'm glad it worked out.
Oh dear.
My
Oh
first
dear.
cough.
It's contagious.
It is contagious. I've had a bad cough the last 2 days. It hasn't been nice.
Right. Anybody else we haven't rated? Oh, Lee Jones.
He's the glue. So
Hmm.
A minus.
I don't think you can minus him on anything. What's there to minus him on?
He didn't get.
He's not been on
everyone
this
gelled.
podcast, right? He's getting an F until he comes on this podcast and speaks to us. How about that?
That was, but he can only talk about Scarlet stuff.
No, I want to ask him about Hong Kong.
Then take him onto the HG podcast, which you can find on.
The internet.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Harmless plug doesn't hurt.
On YouTube in places. HG Rugby.
There we go. See, I will get you promoted. It won't do much to help, but you might get like 3 extra followers. All the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Is that it, my friend?
I think that's it. I think that's it.
Do we want to go through a few more coaches? Because I can start listing off academy coaches if you want.
No, I don't think we need to list off all of the academy. I think just Scott and Tom and all that team, obviously friends of the pod. The academy's great. Obviously, the under-18s didn't win this season.
They got bored of playing on that plastic pitch. That's all it was, and they were like,
"Yes,
let them have it."
Yeah, starting to struggle with things to talk about now. So that's normally the sign to end a podcast. Is there anything else? Obviously, there's the last one until September, probably until pre-season starts.
Yeah, I think September sounds like a good starting point. I mean, we don't have any games before September, as far as I'm aware. So it's going to be a long old summer. There's no real rugby that we're interested in, is there?
No.
No.
I have to watch Marnus van der Merwe winning the Rugby Championship.
Oh, I can do that, yeah. Oh, Junior World Championships next. Under 20 World Championship, sorry.
Yeah. Start
on Saturday or Friday?
Yeah, no, Sunday, I think it is.
It starts this weekend.
Yes,
definitely. End of June 2025. It'll be good to get some rugby out of those boys in there. Just the 3. So I don't know if we actually spoke about this. I know we spoke, before the team was named. So it's Harry Thomas, Jack Pritchard, and Ellis Price that are our 3 that are going.
The ones we predicted.
The ones we predicted, because they were the ones in the Six Nations squad. Well, the ones who played in the Six Nations, I should say. There was more in the squad.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, that wraps us up for the season. Yes, the season. We're 100% sure we're not coming back, so I can finally have a Monday night to myself.
God knows, there could be an awful disaster that happens in the next 10 minutes, but
who knows?
If it does happen in the next 10 minutes, you still have to wait until next week for us to talk about it.
Okay, so take in the massive edit because Huw messed up a lot of things. If you're a YouTube watcher and you can spot what he messed up, please comment. Please let him know exactly what he did wrong. And thank you all for listening. It's been a solid 1 hour and 20 minutes-ish. So not quite as long as last time, but still fairly long. So thank you for sticking around with us. And until next time, Mr. Huw, enjoy your summer. Everyone listening, enjoy your summer. Hopefully your community club is playing a little bit of rugby, so you can go and watch that. And until next time, Hwyl fawr, everyone. Goodbye.
Cheerio.
That was Saucepans and Sidesteps. Please rate, review and share on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.